every time I mess up, then I have to question who I am.
Right.
Man, I don't want my daughter on her bad day to ever wonder if she's mine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're still an Edwards.
Right.
I'm still gonna make dinner for you. Get your club. You know what I'm saying? There's things with that. And so I just think there's a freedom actually to be to walking in the holiness that God has given us, because that's more identity, and that's where you rest. And out of that, you try to live differently. The derivative of that righteousness is holiness.
Yeah.
Can change the game for people, because I think we have people who are just trying not to cheat and trying not to lie.
Yeah.
Come on, and trying not to, but that's morality.
Yeah.
If it's not coming from your otherness, this thing that God has said, I'm pulling you out, and in this there should be a different way that you act. We're trying to do the different behavior without claiming the holiness, because that is really the thing that I think even the church has missed. You know, like laying claim to this holiness. We are different, and not because we deserved it, but because God somehow decided that if we just would believe and surrender and yield, then he would kind of redefine us in some ways and give us an affiliation that we could not have received on our own. And from that, then I say, oh, I want to act like who he says I am.
You said something really important, is the word believe. Because I think people have divorced holiness from faith.
That's right.
And so that's why it's easy to just say, I'm holy if I don't listen to this. I'm holy if I don't go here. You don't got to trust God to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why your holiness is inconsistent. Because it's not rooted in a faith towards God that then comes out in fruitfulness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the relationship, you know, sometimes we try and do the deed before we have the relationship. If you do that, you're just going to wear yourself out.
Right. And it's an assurance. So if God says I'm holy, even when I act unrighteously,
Hey, it made me start
my holiness is not at stake.
No, that's right.
I can't live like, when I'm acting like full on Jada, you know, who God says I am is at stake. I need to feel confident in this identifier so that when my behavior is shaky, who I am, you know what I'm saying, is not in jeopardy.
That's right.
And I think that's just a huge thing. It makes people go crazy. And that's why people feel like they're in that struggle, because they're just like, every time I mess up, then I have to question who I am. Man, I don't want my daughter on her bad day to ever wonder if she's mine. You know what I'm saying? You're still an Edwards. I'm still gonna make dinner for you, get your club. You know what I'm saying? There's things with that. And so I just think there's a freedom actually to being, to walking in the holiness that God has given us, because that's more identity, and that's where you rest. And out of that, you try to live differently.
So
good.
I feel like we have gotten the otherness that we're supposed to represent confused with influence. And I'm like, no, to influence as Christ followers does not mean accommodation.
That's right.
It does not mean that we look like the world. And I know that's, you know, just this pithy statement that we all have heard our whole life, and some have tatted. But that is true. If we are sanctified, that means set apart. They got it in, it's like where they got it wrong was they made it behavioral modification. What I think our grandmamas and granddaddies were trying to tell us is represent. They're saying you don't look like the world. You love it. You love every single image bearer you get to come in contact with or have influence with, or any type of relationship. However, you're different. And my mom used to say to me all the time, you are a Harper. Here's what Harper girls do. And I tell Missy that all the time. We were in the hospital yesterday and she was getting shots. And I said, baby, it is okay to cry. It's okay to be afraid. And she said, but I'm a Harper girl, right?
And I said,
yes, you are, baby. And she said, so I'm going to choose to be brave. And I said, honey, even if you cry, you're brave. She goes, but and I thought even at 12, as an adopted daughter of mine, she goes, I'm different than the other kids that are crying and carrying on. And I think our culture tends to go, the more I can love, and I'm like, you can't love the way God has called us to love if you don't get you're set apart. It's a different kind of love. It's not an accommodation of culture.
That's good.
I think that's so important to teach, because, man, the pendulum just keeps swinging to these extremes. And I know we've talked about some experiences where holiness was presented in a really distorted way.
Right.
And what happens is then you swing toward this abuse of grace.
There's another ditch.
And then people think holiness is
I can do
optional.
anything.
It's still right.
No.
That's right.
I do think there's a challenge in churches as teachers, in your friendship conversations, how we love and give grace and still remind believers of the weight of this call, because I just think it can become so cavalier that you're like, God's got me. He does have me, but he's called you to something.
And don't y'all think there should be attention?
It should be.
Because I think for us to get, I just think we get in one ditch or the other. How have y'all found, because I think there's a tension in going, I absolutely want to always live in the grateful cognizance that I didn't earn my salvation. Thank you, Jesus. And I can't earn it. So there is an element where I always want to be just discombobulated by his unmerited favor, by grace. There's another part of me that goes, and I want to live in light of that in a way that I represent. Recently, Missy and I were in the car with another pastor and his family, and the pastor tried to slam on brakes, and Missy said, whenever my mama almost gets hit, she says a bad word. And I was like, because I do. It's not in the Bible. And I've said it enough that, and I wanted to go, I don't always say that word, because I don't always say it, but I thought, my peanut has heard me say the word that rhymes with wit. Just enough times that she confessed my sin to the pastor. And he laughed. He was like, oh, we all mess up. And I thought, we do mess up, but if I have said that word enough that my daughter feels free to share it with the pastor, like it wasn't so much shame as it was me thinking,
awareness.
I've got to put a few more. Just more. I've got to put more discipline on my tongue. It's God is not going to send me to hell because I said a bad word when I almost got wrecked, but out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So I had poo-poo in my heart. So I was like, okay. Let me be, I want my tongue to be holy. So there is a relaxing into the affection of God, but also there's a discipline into put me in, coach, I've been working out, you know?
Yes, God has saved me. Yes, God is sanctifying me, but that doesn't mean that sanctification is merely passive.
Right.
That I just
pot.
sit back and just, be holy by doing it. It's just like if we plant a seed, we can't expect the seed to bear fruit without it being watered.
That's right.
And so the same is with our spiritual life.
Right.
If anything, it's a gift that I'm concerned about my growth, that there's a holy discontentment that I'm not where I was, but there's still so much more.
Absolutely. That's right.
At TBN, our mission is to use every available means to reach as many individuals and families as possible with the life-changing gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you for helping make the gospel of grace go around the world.
And it's because of you that partner with us that this ministry continues. God bless you.